until you call on me.
Hello, everyone. If you're here watching this live or if you're a replay viewer, there's a good chance you're an entrepreneur who's running a business. And our guest today is wondering, though, if that business is actually running you. Welcome to this Facebook Live discussion hosted by PSDA. That's the Print Services and Distribution Association. My name is Darin Painter, and I'm the editor-in-chief of PS Magazine, which is the monthly magazine published by PSDA. Our guest today actually might be familiar to many of you. It's Todd Weeks, who recently led a print and marketing services firm called the Transform Group to 6x net income growth within just 3 years before that company was sold. Today, he has a different role. He's passionate about helping other entrepreneurs grow and transform their businesses through a proven process that he'll talk about. Todd is a professional implementer of the business operating system called EOS. He'll talk about what that means and how you can start using it right away. PSDA is really excited that Todd will be delivering an educational session at a really good event that's upcoming called the CEO Summitt, which is for company principals and C-level leaders in the print and marketing services space. Todd has actually been at the CEO Summit in the past. I remember meeting him and sharing some conversation with him there. That event will be held March 9th through the 11th at the Scottsdale Resort at McCormick Ranch in Scottsdale, Arizona. Registration for that is open. You are encouraged to attend. All the details you need are at a website, and that is this, psda.org/CEO 2020. Once again, that's psda.org/CEO 2020. We would really love to have you there. Todd, we love that you are here with us right now. Some live viewers are here with us as well. If you're out there and you have any questions or comments for Todd, feel free to use your chat feature and be part of the conversation today. But without further ado, thank you very much, Todd. Welcome to the Facebook Live broadcast.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Darin. Glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Glad you're here. Let's start with the Q&A. If we just jump right into it, if we can. My first question is pretty simple. Running a business isn't easy. We've both been there. Even energetic entrepreneurs often feel stuck or dragged down, working long hours, feeling a lack of control. Why is that? Why are so many business leaders so frustrated today, in your opinion?
Yeah, Darin. So as you said, running a business, owning a business is really hard, and it's a very fast-moving market and industry, and things are constantly changing. And so, I liken, the frustrations of running a business to coaching a sports team. And so just imagine if you were trying to coach a sports team without a playbook, how frustrating would that be? And so many entrepreneurs and many business owners are frustrated because, quite frankly, they just don't have a playbook on how they're running their offense, how they're running their defense, how they're recruiting their top players and managing those top players. And so it can just be really overwhelming and frustrating when you don't have an organized way to do that. And so what I do is I try to help owners really figure that out, give them a playbook and a system to help them really run a great business.
Cool answer. That playbook probably has X's and O's and strategies and metrics and so forth. And I know you're a numbers guy. I think you used to, or one time I listened to a podcast recently, you were on Walter McKay's podcast. It was really good, called No BS Sales School. Quick plug for Walter McKay's podcast. And in it, you called yourself a recovering CPA.
Yeah.
So I imagine that you understand numbers and metrics, but I know you pretty well. You also seem to identify with people's passion. Just out of curiosity, because when I met you, you were a distributor, and now you're helping distributors and other companies. What are you passionate about? Why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah, Darin. So I love sharing, my passion, and that is really, I feel like I have a calling to help business owners and leaders, run a better business. Again, we've already said being a business owner and leader is hard. There's long hours, early mornings, late nights, sometimes weekend phone calls, and I've lived it and know that there's really a better way to do that. I believe that being a business owner doesn't have to be so hard. that there is kind of, hope out there, if you will, for those that are, as we would say, kind of beating their head against the wall, just frustrated with why certain things aren't working and why can't I grow and why don't people listen and follow through and do the things that I need them to do. And I'm just really passionate about encouraging business owners and working with them and really showing them there is a better way to do it. You can achieve all the things you want as an entrepreneur and as an owner. And you might just need to try something different. And so that's what I do, is try to bring kind of a fresh light, fresh energy, and really a proven way to scale and grow and run an entrepreneurial organization.
Sorry about that hang up. I was trying to unmute myself there. It seems like that way has 3 letters that are really important to you now, and that's EOS. I was unfamiliar with it before I was starting to research for this Facebook Live broadcast. You were introduced to it while you were at the Transform Group, from my understanding. So tell us, I guess Cliff's Note version, what is EOS? And how can it help people who might be watching this simplify and clarify and achieve their vision?
Yeah, so EOS stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and it was actually started almost 2 decades ago by our founder, Gina Wickman, up in Detroit, Michigan. And as I always say, over the last 18, 19 years or so, this system has been perfected and is now being used in over 8,000 companies around the world. And really what it is, if I could boil it down to 3 simple things, we talk about helping business owners clarify and achieve their vision. So that's kind of step 1 is, where do you want to go as a business, right? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? So when we say vision, it's a lot more than just a mission statement or a vision statement. It's just giving absolute clarity to every single person in your organization, clarity around where are we going as a company, right? So we just call that vision. The second step is what we call traction. And traction is actually the name of the book that started this whole thing we call EOS, again, about 19 years ago. And traction is really where we help the owners and their leaders bring discipline and accountability, right? Which is all about driving clear and consistent execution on achieving that vision and those goals that we set. And then the third component or third leg of that stool, if it's a 3-legged stool, is what we call healthy. And so we just want to help the owner and their leadership team become a functional, cohesive, healthy team. Because Darin, let's face it, human nature, we're not always functional and cohesive. And we want to give them tools and ideas to really help them be more healthy and functional. And so again, EOS is just a framework and a system of tools and concepts and disciplines to really help you drive towards vision, traction, and healthy.
Thank you. That's interesting. I'm sure people in Scottsdale would love to hear more about that. You know the print and marketing services industry pretty well. You played in that game for a little while. Do you think that the people in the room at the CEO Summit, or those watching who might not be members of PSDA but are in this space, can use the tools that you just talked about, just given the dynamics of the print industry?
Absolutely. So, one thing I always say is EOS, it's an operating system for any business. And so it's what I call industry agnostic. Now, I just happen to have come out of the print and kind of promotional product industry, like many of our companies in the PSDA are. And so I just happen to know a lot about that industry. And that industry, obviously the print industry has changed significantly. And so in any industry, but especially the print industry, you have to really be able to pivot and manage to the changing market and be able to make decisions quickly. And then once you make those decisions, you need to be able to execute on those with extreme precision and accuracy and speed. And so really what EOS helped us do in our business was adapt and change and do that at every single level of the organization. So we had, when I started, we had almost 40 people spread across 7 states. And, I was trying to help the owner figure out, wow, how do we manage all of these remote people, all these different opportunities, just really bring clarity not only to the vision and goals of the business, but bring clarity to, again, those players in each position, right? So we wanted to bring them clarity, and that really goes whether you're a manufacturer, a print distributor, promotional products, whatever it is. It's a fast changing world, and you really need a holistic system and process to help you effectively manage and execute in that fast changing environment. So all that to say is, yes, I think it's absolutely applicable and will be really good for those owners and entrepreneurs to hear about it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think so many smart entrepreneurs kind of lead with their gut. I mean, their gut instinct has gotten them so far, right? And so, but it has limitations, I think. So it's really interesting that there's metrics behind it. I mean, it's pretty easy to understand that you would need that, but I think it's pretty common to forget to manage in a systematic kind of way when you're smart, you're aggressive, etc. You had a really good analogy that I overheard on that podcast that involving a puzzle. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was so good. Can you share that with me?
Yeah. So what you were just talking about with these owners, we actually have a term for that in our system. It's called a visionary, and most great companies have a visionary owner, right? Someone who, they don't necessarily have to be a charismatic leader, but they're, most entrepreneurs, they're visionary, right? They are, tend to be high risk takers. They want to try new things. They have a lot of ideas. I always say they like to fly at 30 or 40,000 feet up, but they don't really want to get down into the weeds. And sometimes, many times, a true visionary leader is not a great manager of people and process. And so what we do is we just try to give those visionaries a proven way to take those ideas and get them executed into the organization to really help them continue to scale and grow. And so the example you're talking about is, I always say, most owners that I talk to, they have a very compelling vision for their business. They know what they want to build, where they want to go, how big they want to be, all the things they want to conquer. But most of the time it's trapped in their head. It's trapped inside of them, and they don't really have a way to get it out and share it. And so the example I use is, if I were to go into any organization, and let's just say they had 30 employees, and I were to go to call all the employees into the break room and dump out a 5,000 piece puzzle on the table and say, all right, team, you have an hour to put together this puzzle, or 2 hours, we'll give them. And you got 2 hours to work together, put together this 5,000 piece puzzle, but I'm not going to show you the box top. I'm not going to show you what that puzzle looks like. And I would ask the owner, do you think your team could put it together in an hour or 2 hours, or even half a day? And they would say, well, probably not. I said, well, what do you think they would want to know? And common sense. I want to see what the box looks like. What's that puzzle supposed to look like? And so I always say, look, I'll give you a hint. It's a landscape picture. Okay, well, that's helpful, but are the blue pieces the sky, or are they the lake? And are the green pieces the tops of the trees, or are they the grass? And so many times that's really what the owners are frustrated with, is why aren't people helping me build what I want to build? And the reason is they haven't clearly shown them what that puzzle is supposed to look like. And so we got to get clarity on that. And then we got to help them have tools and disciplines to clearly execute on that. And so again, it really got to have that clear vision, and that comes from that owner, entrepreneur, leader.
Got it. Great. Cool. So the CEO Summit's coming up. You're going to be there talking to the group. Hopefully there'll be about 150 people or so in the room, and the more the merrier. So if you're out there, please do register. What are you looking forward to most about the CEO Summit? I know you have a couple of years of attendance under your belt there, but now you're on the other side of the room, I guess, on stage. What do you want people to most know? When they get out of Arizona and they get back to the office, what's the takeaway, hopefully, for them?
Yeah, great question. So when I was attending the CEO Summit, Our owner, we always talked about any conference we went to, we wanted to come away with 2 to 3 nuggets that we could take that would challenge our thinking, and hopefully that we could implement to really help us in our business. And so I'm going to be sharing some very simple practical tools with the attendees, but really what I'm going to focus on is I'm going to boil it down to what I call the 3 questions. So I want them to leave knowing what are the 3 questions that they have to bring absolute clarity to in their organization so that they can take it to the next level. And so there's going to be some very tangible takeaways. So I'm not going to share what those questions are, but there will be 3 questions that will really get them thinking, help them internalize those, and then I'll give them some tools to really help them bring clarity to those 3 questions or 3 areas.
That's great. Well, the hook is out there. The bait is out there. People have to nibble and come to the show now to figure out what those are. People are going to want to get a hold of you to get more traction in their business. You can help them with that. How can they reach you either before, during, or after the CEO Summit?
Sure. So best way, you can go to my website, focused with a D, .com. Or they can find me on LinkedIn, Todd Weeks. And obviously, if they're on Facebook right now, they can find me on Facebook, either Todd Weeks or Traction Focused on Facebook, LinkedIn, and then my website.
Sounds good. I will find you in Arizona and say thank you for doing this with us. Yeah. So thanks, Todd, and everyone who's watched either now live or on replay. Thank you very much for participating. Let's keep the conversation going about business growth when you get to Scottsdale. The CEO Summit, once again, takes place March 9th through the 11th. It will be warmer than it is in Cleveland today, Todd Weeks, where it's like 13 degrees out, so I can't wait to go. It's an opportunity to connect with the best and the brightest in the industry, discuss high-level trends, share our common challenges and ideas. The website, one more time, psda.org/CEO2020. Todd and I will not be offended at all if you open up a new browser right now and type in that psda.org/CEO2020. Thanks again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And thanks again, Todd.
Thanks so much, Darin. Take care.
You too.